So, welcome to Back to Always Be Cooking, episode 2. Today we're doing the letter B for Brazil. Now, what we're going to do is a Brazilian skirt steak. And we're going to put a chimichurri sauce on there. And right away, everybody's freaking out. But chimichurri sauce is from Argentina. You know what they eat in Brazil too? Okay? Just back off. And anyway, so this is going to be my take on it. What you're going to need is a nice skirt steak. Look at this thing. Beautiful, isn't it? I'm going to teach you guys how to cut this up later. That if you do it wrong, it is going to taste tough as a shoe. If you do it right, it's going to be delicious with amazing beefy flavors. So we're going to put this off to the side here, let it get to room temperature, and first we're going to start with the chimichurri sauce. Now, again, this is my take on the chimichurri sauce. You ask 100 people, there'll be 100 different recipes, but this is my take on it. So, let's go. So mash your garlic and salt in mortar and pestle. Now, traditionally, this entire recipe is done in a mortar and pestle, not a blender. But as you'll notice, I've got a really small mortar and pestle. So what I did is I just combined the salt and the garlic together, and then after that, I put it in the blender. If you have a really large mortar and pestle, feel free to use that. You can throw in your shallots, some jalapeno, some black pepper. For herbs, I like to use a little bit of oregano, some parsley, and cilantro. Also, I put in some lemon and lime zest. What we've got here is some lime juice and olive oil. Traditionally, they use red wine vinegar. That's more traditional. I like fresh flavors. Basically, what it is in any salad dressing or anything you're doing, you're always trying to get 1 part acid to 3 part oil. In this case, I used lemon and lime juice as an acid. You could use white wine vinegar, you could use red wine vinegar. Now it looks kind of like half and half here, but actually this kind of cup goes out. So we've got 3 parts oil to 1 part acid here. Now with all my herbs that I have, you'll notice I kind of just eyeball as I cut it in. We roughly want about 2 or 3 parts parsley to 1 part cilantro, a little bit of oregano. This is done to taste, and it's also kind of, cooking is an art, you know, so feel free to put yourself in. Okay. Welcome to Pappy Jordan's Did You Know section. So today we're going to talk about the word chimichurri, as in chimichurri sauce that you're about to enjoy. Now, if you go on the interwebs, you'll see that the origin of the word is very highly disputed. But I'll tell you my favorite one. My favorite one is that there was an Irish meat seller by the name of CHIMICHURRI that made up the sauce. CHIMICHURRI. And they couldn't say his name, so they just kept saying it's chimichurri sauce. CHIMICHURRI sauce. That's a great little nugget. Throw the chimichurri sauce in a blender and just pulse it very quickly. Remember, it's supposed to be done in a mortar and pestle, so you don't want to turn it into mush. Next, let's focus on the pão de queijo. Now, you're going to notice here that we have just some eggs, some butter, some milk, a little bit of salt, and we have tapioca, starch, or flour. Same thing, it's gluten-free. Also, I have more for you. How about I tell you another little story about the interesting things about where the... milk and butter and cheese and all those wonderful things to it. So, the more you know. So put a little bit of salt in with your butter. I've got 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of butter. Go ahead and put on medium heat. Then whisk your eggs together. I have 4 eggs for this recipe. You want to make sure that it doesn't burn. Stir continuously till you get it to a boil, and then as soon as it boils, take it directly off the heat. Don't let it burn. Pour it into the mixer with 8 cups of tapioca flour. Put it on slow so you don't make too much of a mess, and just let it combine itself. It's not going to be a true dough like bread dough. This is technically a starchy tart, not bread. But once you see it get to roughly this consistency, you know that you're done. Next, we just drop some eggs in. We had the 4 whisked eggs. We just put them in and let it blend up. Once it's combined and homogeneous, you're done. Just throw some cheese in. Now you can use any cheese. What we have here is a cup of Parmesan and a cup of cheddar. You can use any cheese you want. Next, put a little olive oil in your hands just so the dough doesn't stick because it's quite a wet dough. Just rub them together. Take a nice scoop out, about the size of a golf ball, and just roll it together in your hands and make a sphere. Once you're done, pop them in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit and just watch them for about 15 minutes or until they're golden brown. You'll notice that the skirt steak has long strands in the muscle. When you cook it, we have to cut against the grain. We have to take the knife and make cuts like this. So after we cook it, we'll cut it in half to make it more manageable and chop it like this. If you chop it with the grain, you'll be chewing on it. It'll taste like an old tire. Pro tip, ask your butcher to remove the silver skin for you. It's easy to do yourself, but why not get them to do it? They'll usually just do it for free. When you're cooking a steak, if it's a good quality cut of meat, you go to a butcher, you get a nice place. You don't want to mess it up with a lot of expensive marinades and rubs and all that kind of stuff. Let the flavor of the meat shine, especially because we've got a chimichurri sauce that's going over this. We don't need it to be so crazy. All we've done is put salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil. The olive oil even is an option, you don't need it. So we've got our barbecue nice and hot, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this down on the grill 2 minutes aside. And that's it. It's not gonna be difficult. Get that nice sizzle, that's what you want. Once you put your meat on the grill, sometimes it sticks. If it's sticking, that means it's not done yet. Just leave it in the same spot. Don't mess around with it, just leave it alone. Once it's to your desired doneness, give it a flip. You should see those beautiful Maillard reactions on it. When the buns are golden brown, take them out of the oven. They should be nice and crispy on the outside and really chewy and soft on the inside. Next, carve up the meat. Remember to go against the grain so you have a nice, tender cut of meat. Now we're going to make a delicious Brazilian lemonade. So in a blender, combine ice, about 3 cups of ice, lime juice from about 8 limes, and also the zest from those limes, a bit of mint, and an entire can of sweetened condensed milk. Blend until smooth. Pour it in a nice glass and serve. There you have it, Brazilian steak with chimichurri sauce, QUEIJO, and a delicious Brazilian lemonade. The kids loved it. We're going to give it 4 out of 5 rubber duckies. Thanks for coming again today. We had a beautiful Brazilian steak with chimichurri sauce, some QUEIJO, some Brazilian cheese buns, and Brazilian lemonade. So next week we're going to be starting with the letter C for Cuba. We're going to make some beautiful roast pork. Make sure that you're there for next week's episode. One of my favorite meals. Don't forget to like, subscribe, put that little bell on. You can see where it says subscribe, put that little bell to remind you that my videos are coming out. And if you liked it, remember, you hit like. If you loved it, smash that like button. Comment, send it to your friends. Put it through social media, tell your family about it. Good, wholesome cooking show, you're gonna love it. So see you next week when we do C for Cuba.